Hey everyone, this week we're going to be heading over to Spain, and then hopping back to the US, because we're going to be looking at Rec and Quarantine. Or I guess technically it's called Record, because that's what bracket REC bracket means, but everyone just calls it Rec, and that makes sense. Considering the newest of these movies is over a decade old, I'm just going to put out a blanket spoiler alert. Starting off, number 6 is Quarantine 2 Terminal. Look, this one is bad, and it is boring. This was a rather low-budget attempt at a sequel to the remake, and it's not the worst thing ever. The one thing I can say in its favor is the setting. This movie takes place primarily in, like, the behind-the-scenes parts of an airport. Like, the parts where the public normally isn't supposed to go.
Watch his mouth! Come here! We're gonna stay! Grab that end! Put it over here! Hold it! Hold it, guys! Pull! He's dead.
And to be fair,
To be fair,
it's a really cool setting. It's scenery that most people don't get to see. And I like it. That's about it, though. This movie doesn't have much else going for it. It does reference the first movie with the, what is it in this timeline? The super rabies, or whatever the infection was. Like, in the events of that movie being referenced. Otherwise, it's largely standalone. The characters are forgettable. I don't remember any of their names. I remember the ending. The ending is alright as far as pointless cliffhangers go. I will say that most of the kills are at least decent, and the gore is decent, so that's something, but ultimately this one, even if you're a fan of the remake, this one is a big step down and not really worth watching. Unless you're, like, really, really into airports and you want to see that aspect of it, then maybe, but otherwise, no. Score is 1.5 out of 5. Number 5 is Rec 4 Apocalypse. This is the latest in the series, and presumably the last, since nothing's happened for 11 years. Okay, so the first 2 Rec movies were co-directed by 2 men. Let me find their names. Okay, I need to learn how to pronounce that, because I don't know Spanish that well. How to pronounce. Jaume. Okay, Jaume. Jaime. Oh, it's Catalan. I don't know where Catalan is from. Presumably Catalina? Catalan language is the official language of Andorra. Oh, that's cool. And 3 communities in eastern Spain. That's neat. Okay, Jaume. Okay, here's hoping I don't butcher it. Oh, also, going forward, I apologize if I butcher any of these Spanish names. So, the first movie was co-directed by Jaume Balaguero and Paco Plaza. And they directed the first 2 Rec movies together. And then after that, they split, and they each directed another sequel. This one was directed by Jaume Balaguero. Again, really hope I said that right. And I'd say 3 and 4 are about equally meh, but I think 3 is slightly better, so 4 gets the short end of the stick. I like that we have Angela, the protagonist from the first movie, is back, so that's some nice continuity. But this movie completely abandons the found footage format of the previous films, and it's just a zombie movie set on a boat. And it does that adequately. My biggest problem, really, is that there's a bunch of CGI that's not really good enough to warrant its inclusion. I get it, there were some things that were just safer to do digitally, like an infected baboon, I think, attacking people. That, sure, do that digitally. But then there was other CGI that just easily could have been done practically, and I don't understand why they didn't. The characters don't get much in the way of development. Most of them are kind of forgettable. I really only remember Angela's name. But if nothing else, it is a step up from Quarantine 2. I'll give this one a 2 out of 5. Number 4 is Rec 3 Genesis. This is the other side of that coin. This is the one that was directed by Paco Plaza. And it's better. Not by much, but it's better. Now, this one makes the switch from found footage to regular footage. And I appreciate that, actually. And in this case, I think it works. It's like in Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, where the switch is justified in universe because it falls into the trope of, why are you still recording? And so once there becomes no more reason to record, they just stop recording. And that kind of makes sense. Unfortunately, that does mean that, like, the second half-ish, it's not like the exact halfway point, but like the second part of this movie just kind of feels like a generic zombie movie, albeit done a little bit better than in Rec 4. The characters are a little bit more memorable this time around. We have a newlywed husband and wife who have the infection pop up in their wedding.
¡Bájala ahí! Es el Pepe, ¿no?
They end up separated and they have to find their way back together. And that's fine. That's a decent storyline. And I actually like the ending in this one. I won't spoil it, but it's a good ending. I do like the visual of Clara in her wedding dress with the chainsaw. It doesn't last very long, but it's cool while it lasts, and she gets some awesome kills. But at the end of the day, once the found footage format gets dropped, this one does just feel like a mostly generic zombie movie, albeit with actual decent characters. So that's something, but it doesn't completely work. My score is 2 out of 5. Number 3 is Quarantine. As far as remakes go, this one is fine. It's definitely a step down from Rec, but it's fine. It's not awful. If nothing else, I am grateful that it exists because I'm pretty sure that the success of this movie is what led to the directors of the original making a sequel, and the sequel is actually really good. I'll get to that in a minute. Quarantine pretty much follows the exact same story as the first one, with a few minor changes. Some names are changed. They spend a little more time with the firefighters at the beginning, getting to know them a little bit. Some characters have slightly different personalities. The infection is different this time around. Instead of what we get in the Spanish version, it's basically super rabies, I'm pretty sure. This comes to us from John Eric Dowdle, who also directed As Above, So Below and the Poughkeepsie tapes. So, well, I'll just say I liked one of those movies, and it's not the one that takes place in Paris. In this one, the camera actually gets used, so like the camera in universe actually has a purpose besides just recording when it gets used to bash in an infected's head.
Stay with me, stay with me, baby! Sadie, look out!
unlike a similar scene in The Visit, here it actually works. And that's something that wasn't in the original, so I will give them credit for having some original stuff in this version. But ultimately, this really is just the same story again, with a few details changed and an inferior version at that. My score is 2.5 out of 5. Number 2 is Rec 2. This is just a really solid sequel all around. It takes place in the same building as the first one, but this time we get to explore more of it, so that's cool. This time we follow Grupo, I'm not even going to bother trying to pronouncing this in Spanish, the Special Group of Operations, or GEO, the police tactical unit of Spain's National Police Corps, so the Spanish equivalent of SWAT. So this time, instead of your standard handheld camera, we get a team of 4 being sent in with their body cams. And so we get 4 different points of view, and it will cut back and forth depending on what's happening. And unlike a lot of movies where it's found footage with multiple cameras, say, like the 2016 Blair Witch was a movie that did not do that particularly well, because it didn't feel amateur enough. Here, it works. It feels just amateur. It feels like, well, you're watching 4 guys wearing body cams, because you are.
Asegúrate. ¿Qué es eso? ¡Déjame la cabeza! ¡La mierda! ¡Larga! ¡Rápido!
We get a bit more lore in this one, expanding on what little we know from the original. It is not just an infection, it is some sort of demonic parasite that spreads the infection from the parasite gets one person and then the virus spreads from there. I still remember watching Roanoke Gaming's video on the first rec and just and having him come to a conclusion that is ultimately contradicted by what happens in this movie, and me just sitting there laughing, wondering, all right, now I gotta go see if he covered the sequel. Ultimately, I feel like this is a step down from the first movie, but it's still a damn good time, and it is a worthy sequel. My score is 3.5 out of 5. Finally, my number 1 is Rec. When I covered high-rise horror movies a couple years ago, this was my number 1, and for good reason. This is one of the best found footage movies of all time. It is one of the best zombie movies of all time.
¡Hay que sacar a este hombre! ¿Qué hay detrás de la persiana? ¡Un taller textil! ¿Cómo un taller textil?
Pues un taller textil de telas, de telas.
Vale, tranquila señora, tranquilidad todos. Tranquilidad todos. ¿Tienes salida al exterior?
Un momento. Por favor, échense para allá.
¿Cómo coño sabréis?
Por favor, no lo repito, no lo repito más. Échense para allá. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pretendes?
Pues coño, sacar a tu compañero que está
A
desangrado.
ver, un momento. Mi marido está fuera y dice que está lleno de policías, que está cortada la calle y que no le dejan acercarse al edificio y le traía antibióticos a la niña.
It's just a fantastic movie. One struggle that all found footage movies have is that the acting has to be a step above the acting in most movies, because acting in most movies just has to be good. It has to be convincing. And found footage, it has to feel authentic. It has to feel like it's not acting. It has to feel like it's just people. Even the remake didn't do a very good job at that. This movie and Rec 2 both just excel in that regard. It's less about shooting the infected and more about surviving the outbreak, because it's not cops in this movie. It's a television reporter and cameraman following emergency workers, firefighters. And it works really well. It's claustrophobic and exciting and tense, and the music is great, and the acting, like I said, is great. The script is tight, and the ending has gone down in history. My score is 4.5 out of 5. Hey everyone, what's your ranking? Let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that. If you don't like the video, tell me why. Try to be constructive. Maybe subscribe anyway. You'll be notified when I upload a new video. Watch that and tell me what you like and don't like about that one. That's all for now. Stay safe in these crazy times.